Hi readers, welcome to Novels with Nat. So I want to start a little bit of a series on this channel. I want to do author spotlights where I focus on one author in a video who I've read all of their books or read them to zero and talk about them, talk about the books, a little bit of a synopsis, and then talk about how I felt about them, my rating, and then at the end I'll do a ranking of my favorite to my least favorite. There are quite a few authors that I've read all of their books from, and there are also authors that I'm working towards reading all of their books from. So I'm hoping to do some more of these videos very shortly. I'm going to start with the authors that have fewer books and kind of work up to the ones that have a longer backlist. But for today's video, the first one I'm going to start with is Alex Michaelides. So Alex Michaelides has written 3 books. They are The Silent Patient, The Maidens, and then The Fury. So let's talk about them a little bit and then we'll get into a ranking. So the first book that he published was The Silent Patient. This one came out in 2019 and it is by far his most popular book. This one absolutely went viral. It was everywhere online on BookTube, BookTok. Anyone who reads thrillers has heard of this book. It's just amazing to me how popular this book was and still continues to be. This one is such a popular thriller. It's always in people's favorite of all time lists or recommendation videos or top thriller videos. You'll typically see The Silent Patient, and I completely understand why. So it's best to go into this book as blind as possible, but just a brief synopsis is we're following a woman named Alicia who was a painter and a pretty famous painter, and one day she shoots her husband in the face 5 times and then never speaks again. And so her paintings of course become even more popular and start growing in value, and so she's placed in a psychiatric ward, and then we're also following a man named Theo who is a psychotherapist, and he's familiar with the case, and so he goes and starts meeting with Alicia to try and get her to speak and to figure out what's gone on. And this book has so many twists along the way. Alex Michaelides really has his own writing style, and it doesn't feel like every other thriller you've ever read. It's really unique, and he doesn't follow sort of the formulaic writing. This one was super exciting, super engaging, and this book is known for having a crazy plot twist. I think the twist in this book was good. I don't think it was necessarily like the best twist I've ever read in my life, but I did like it. I enjoyed the book. It was a good experience. I would recommend it to anyone. I think it's good for both people who are new to the thriller genre as well as people who are well read in the genre. Definitely a really solid book. I'll also mention that at the time of recording, this book currently has a 4.17 rating on Goodreads. So the second book that he released was The Maidens, and this one is a dark academia book, which I absolutely love. Dark academia is so nice for like the fall time when it's cozy weather and it's back to school, and it just really fits that sort of vibe. So I really love picking up dark academia books in the fall. So this book takes place at Cambridge University, and we're following a professor named Edward who is a Greek tragedy professor, and he's very popular and well liked on campus. He's particularly liked by a group of female students who are in like a secret society called the Maidens. Then we're following a therapist called Marina, who becomes particularly interested in this group, the Maidens, when her niece's friend ends up murdered and found on this campus. Marina also went to Cambridge, and so she starts to think that this Professor Edward had some kind of involvement in this student's murder, and so she starts to investigate. And then another body ends up found on campus, and so this just sends her into a further spiral of trying to solve this mystery. And this one currently has a 3.62 on Goodreads. So then we have his most recent release, which is The Fury. This one came out in 2024. It has a really nice cover. I really love the cover of like the beach in the background and the kind of gold foiled title. It's really pretty. The synopsis of this book is pretty vague, and so I'm going to keep it pretty vague as well. So in this book, we're following a reclusive ex-movie star named Lena, who every year invites a group of friends to a private island in Greece. In this book, they end up trapped there overnight, and there's a murder. This book is written from the perspective of a man named Elliot, who is one of the friends on the island that day. And it's just a story about the events that happened between this friend group on that particular night. And it also kind of weaves in their past and their history. I think what really sets this book apart is the style of writing and the tone. Elliot is such an interesting narrator. He's sort of telling the story as if he's like a friend of yours and you sit down for coffee and he's just telling you the events of this night that happened. I would kind of say that this book, the narrator, I guess you could say, sort of breaks the fourth wall, if that's the saying. So he sort of says things like, things could have gone differently. This is not what happened, but let me tell you the truth about what happened. And so you're really getting this story told from Elliot's perspective, and it's really fun to sort of be in his mind because he's such a unique character, and I just really enjoy this style of storytelling. It's not something that I've read in other thrillers, and it's one of the things that I liked most about this book. I think some people may dislike that if you don't like this style of writing, especially if you find Elliot to be sort of an annoying narrator, is what I've heard by some people, but I didn't find that to be the case. So this is actually his lowest rated book on Goodreads so far. It has currently a 3.36, which I would consider pretty low in general, but especially for Alex Michaelides, I was a bit surprised by that rating, but that's what it's at right now. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my ratings and a ranking from least favorite to most favorite of these 3 books. I'll just preface this by saying that I enjoyed all of these books. They're all good books that I would recommend to anyone, but we have to rank least to best favorite. So in 3rd place, I have The Maidens. This one I gave 3 stars. I really liked it. It was a solid thriller. I love the dark academia aspects of it, but I would say this is my least favorite of the 3. This might be surprising, but in 2nd place, I have The Silent Patient. This one I gave 4 stars. I really did enjoy this book. I know this is a lot of people's 5-star read, but it just didn't hit that 5-star mark for me. The twist wasn't my absolute favorite of all time. It was good, but for that reason, I gave it 4 stars. And I know this one is definitely his most beloved book, but I'm going to put it in 2nd place. And then in 1st place, we have The Fury. This is my absolute favorite of his books. I want to reread this book this year. I read it last year and fell in love with it. It was one of my favorite books of 2024. And I'm just so surprised that this book has such a low rating on Goodreads right now because I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Probably I would consider it like one of my 6-star reads. Just the narrator and the point of view that we're getting this story, it just genuinely felt like you were sitting down with an actual person that you know, and they're telling you this crazy story that you're so engaged and intrigued by, and you're just kind of hanging on their every word to find out what's happening in the story and what's going to happen next. I just flew through this book within a couple of days. It was so fun, such a fun ride. If you tend to be sensitive to characters, or especially narrators that can be coming across as unlikable characters, then this might not be the book for you, but I tend to like unlikable characters, ironically. So this one really worked for me. I loved it. It's my favorite of his books. Okay, so that's my review for Alex Michaelides. I love him as an author. I'm excited for his 4th book. I do believe that he's currently working on it right now. I believe I read that somewhere. He's definitely an author that I really enjoy, would recommend, and will continue to read from. If you enjoy these type of author spotlight videos, let me know in the comments below. I would love to know if there's a particular author that you're interested in learning more about or seeing my opinion or ranking of. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in another one very soon. Bye.